Hello, Angela,
Oh,
my sunshine.
hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I feel good.
You're looking good. You're like radiating. You have that like glow. I'm so excited to have you on today's interview and go talk a little bit about your journey
Me too. Thank you for having me.
so far, and then also like what's coming next for you. I'm sure you already have plans like
Well,
next year.
yeah, I right now I'm super excited to be where I am. I'm kind of feeling like I'm at this like midpoint of this huge transition that I've been dying to make for so long. I started in my 20s as a bike racer and just endurance was always my thing. And just like always kind of knew what to eat, how to eat, the amount of cardio that I needed to just, maintain and be really healthy. And so I guess through life, that all just kind of changed and I feels like it honestly fell apart.
Well, I would love to get a little bit to our like ladies listening to you understand a little bit better who Angela is, right? So
Ah,
maybe you can give us a little idea of who you are, how old you are, how you're, if you have kids, what you're doing for your job, where you're living, like what does Angela's everyday look like?
yeah. So I'm 52, believe it or not. And I have two kids. I have a daughter, 16, and a son that's 12, and I'm married. And we live in the Bay Area in California, and we're really into being active. You know, I'm a former bike racer, so bikes are very much a part of our life, and hiking and outdoors. We live in probably one of the best places for that lifestyle. So,
For being outdoors and soaking up the sun.
oh, the sun, I know, it's amazing.
The sun and a little bit like laying on the beach and just enjoying life.
Yeah, I think the sun feels like fuel to me. It feels like going to the gas station.
It is, it is. And because you said like you were an athlete before.
Yeah.
When did you get into like sports or when did you became like conscious for like health and fitness?
Yeah, so I grew up swimming and then I was in my mid 20s when I actually had a snowboarding accident.
Oh,
And
okay.
my physical therapy was to walk to the gym, ride the exercise bike until it hurt, and then walk home. And so when I first started, it was like 3 or 5 minutes, and that was it.
Oh,
And then
crazy.
over the course of time, that turned into 45 minutes. That turned into this like obsession. And then I met some people. I got a bike and I rode, hundreds of miles every week and getting a cyclist. And then I moved to New York and it was really hard to find that community. And then I eventually did find it and I started racing and I am still best friends with some of those people. It was just such a great community in New York City. We raced in Central Park. We were part of an organization called Century Road Club Association. I met my husband as a bike racer. So it was just a really huge part of my life. And I think it took me a long time to not identify as that, to find myself being just Angela,
Mhm.
because I was always comparing myself to this standard of, you know, who I was and how fit I was and when I was a bike racer, even though I'd had two kids and been married, and it was, 15 years after the fact. So it was an interesting transition out of that identity.
And how long did it like take you to, or are you still in a transition, never-ending
No,
transition phase of finding yourself and
I mean, it feels like it was a long breakup for a long time because I couldn't find myself in anything else.
Mhm.
I couldn't find who I really am without needing to have an identity. So, I mean, now I feel like I'm Angela. I'm many things. I lift weights, I eat well, I see my friends, I do all kinds of things, but not one thing clearly defines who I am.
You're multi-passionate and have a lot of things you like to do.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that about you. You kind of bring everything together, stuff that you have also learned in your time as a racer, and being on the bike, but now pursuing that with the intention of transforming your body. But it's not only the body transformation, right? I have the feeling for you there has been also a lot of like internal shifts happening of like how you are seeing yourself and putting yourself first and not feeling selfish about that fact, right? And I think it has been a beautiful, beautiful journey. Do you remember last year? I mean, you joined us in December, but I know that you already like a year ago started kind of on your own a little bit on your transformation journey. Do you remember
Yes.
what happened back then?
Yeah, I remember exactly what happened. I made a transition from being a massage therapist before COVID to being like a project manager, eventually burned myself out, took a little break, came back, became a program manager. But in that time of reeling out, I realized that my mental track of keeping myself physical health was impacting my mental health. And so I found you, honestly. Just I think that obviously the universe sent you to me. My phone must have been listening to me talk about all the things I wanted, and then you popped up in my Instagram, and everything that you were saying and just it all resonated to me in one place. And I was so hungry for information. I was reading everything, I was watching everything, I was listening to everything, and bits and pieces of everything that someone said would resonate with me. So I would grab onto this and grab onto that. I hadn't, and putting it together wasn't working. Putting it
Mm.
together wasn't helping. And so I was working really hard, but I wasn't doing it the right way, which it's, obviously I was trying, but it wasn't working. So, um,
Can you
yeah.
remember can you remember the things that you tried out back then? Like the different puzzles of like the pieces of the puzzle?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, more endurance, eat more protein, eat less carbs, do the sauna. It's just everything was just so much information. And so, yeah, it's like, is it Galveston? Is it, Stacy Sims? There's so much
Mm.
information, but really understanding how to adapt it and apply it to my life was very confusing.
And was it also because I'm trying to understand a little bit better what made you jump? Because it does take a leap of faith to be like, okay, now I'm going to trust this coach on the other side of the planet, kind of, um, to help me put together the pieces of the puzzle and make it work for me. Will it even work? Like, were you like hesitant? Like, do you remember what was running through your head? Were you nervous?
Everything I watched of your content and the way you spoke, it just felt so, it felt so right. Like, and I watched so many videos and, I was just like, felt like a sponge. I just wanted to know more. And at that point, I literally had nothing to lose, right? Like, I had nothing to lose. And when I met with you and just even meeting with you for a half hour, I felt so much better. Like, I felt hopeful. I felt like, yes, I can do this. And it took a lot of the questions out of it for me, where it's like, oh, that's everything I wanted all along, was someone to just tell me what to do. Like, this is what you do for workout. This is what you need to eat. This is when you need to eat it. And for some people that's really overwhelming, and they're like, oh, I don't want to weigh my food. I don't want to do the things.
Mm.
And for me, it was, Hallelujah. I don't have to think about anything. I just need to focus on this and ask questions and see how my body responds and be fully supported through that process.
Hmm.
And I think the biggest transformation has not just been, yes, I lost the weight. Yes, I'm, you know, feeling very strong. It's the mental shift for me that has been so important, of just knowing that I am doing something, I am successful, and it's yeah, just like the question marks came out, the
Mhm.
confusion, the brain space of trying to figure everything out is gone, which is amazing.
The noise is coming down from
Yeah.
all those different things that are going on. I think one thing that you are really really good in is like executing the plan, right? I remember that we first spent some time in like finding your maintenance calories and really fueling your body, and then we dropped into a fat loss phase. And what I can see within your transformation is that you are not just in that to be a phase and yeah, to be on a diet and then be off a diet again. It's really more so about a lifestyle change, an identity change. I think the biggest proof of that has been this summer, right? You were away and traveling and enjoying life and not being super accurate with like tracking everything to the gram. And you were
Yeah.
maintaining your weight beautifully, beautifully. And
Yeah.
you know, so often people would crash diet before a holiday, then do whatever during that holiday and just going nuts and all over on everything, gaining everything back and more when coming back. And you came back, you were refreshed after this summer, and you were like, okay, now I'm ready to tackle on the next phase, the next chapter.
Yeah. I mean, for so many years, I've been on the beach, I've been in my swimming suit, I've been on vacation, and all along thinking, next time I go on vacation, I'll be fit. Next time I go, to Hawaii, I'll feel thin or feel better in my body. Not even about being thin, but just being comfortable in my own skin. And so this really was my year. This was my year to be that person that I always wanted to take on vacation for the last number of years. And it just felt so good to not want to get out of my body. Like, this program has really helped me actually get
Mm.
into my body with the weights, into my body with, the workout really centers you. It brings you in. You have to pay attention. And so that grounding has really helped me a lot. And yeah, I mean, I am so proud of myself because that maintenance over summer is something I've never been able to do. So I've always been like, you know, well, I blew it here, so I might as well blow it there, and then I'll figure it out when I get back. And then I got back and that wasn't working either. So I just was on this trajectory of, everything going up, up, up. But now I'm on this trajectory of, everything going down and maintaining. So I'm really excited about the next chapter, the next phase. And I think one thing that also really resonates with me and working with you, and what I heard from you, is things are a cycle. So there's a cycle of fat loss, there's a cycle of maintenance, there's a cycle of build. And in endurance, in cycling,
Mm.
it's the same. It's like those long endurance miles, then you have your short workouts, then you do the racing season. So it is cyclical, and it makes a lot of sense because you're not stuck in one. You can't go all the
Yeah.
time. And if you just do those endurance miles, you get stronger, but it's just you just are the same.
Yeah.
So having that influx of really focused time, and then being able to kind of relax and enjoy and kind of build up, for the next phase through recovery and just kind of not thinking about it all the time
Hmm.
has really helped for the next cycle. I'm so excited.
And it's also great that you are not only understanding the concept of those cycles because of your actual like cycling background and like preparing and getting the body like primed and set up for the race actually. But it's
Yeah.
also great that you understand that body transformation is it's a lifestyle. It's a long-term project, right? So you doesn't seem like a woman who is like, oh, I just need to fast for 10 days to get rid of as much weight as I can, and then I will start eating again, and then everything comes back. But you had that um, epiphany moment probably at some point in your journey. Maybe you remember that where you were like, oh no, this is actually, I want to make that a lifestyle. I want to be able to not only create and like shape my body and get stronger and more confident in my own skin, but also be able to maintain that. Can you remember when it made like click for you, where you were like, this is not about just being on a diet?
Yeah, I think the biggest moment of it clicking for me was honestly over the summer, where I was stepped back a little bit from, the intensity and not the work, but just allowing myself to have a little break give me such a huge moment to really reflect and say, wow,
Hmm.
I really did this. Like, I really did lose weight. I really did gain muscle. Like, the things that I set as goals for myself, I'm more than half of the way there. And so I think for me, aside from that moment where you're originally like, oh, my pants fit differently, oh, the scale's going down, oh, my measurements are changing, it was really that moment of being on vacation and, feeling like, which swimming suit am I going to wear today? And not like, oh my God, I have to put on a swimming suit. So I think that to me was like, okay, I've made some serious changes here.
And I remember you sending me that picture of you in the bathing suit in Croatia, and you were like, "Woo! A
Check me out.
girl is enjoying her body."
Yeah, this was my summer, the beginning of many summers.
The beginning of many summers. I just wanted to say because I remember our call last week where we set up the next goals and the next like phase. You were telling me that you were booking in another holiday.
Oh yeah. My friend actually sent me a text message to see if I could join her in Ibiza. And I normally would have said absolute like no. It wouldn't even have been something to consider, but I've always wanted to go there. It's an amazing opportunity. I love my friend and I just yeah, I feel excited to go. I feel excited in my skin. And so that also has opened me to opportunities that I might not have taken before and just missed out.
And do you see yourself already like thinking about like next year? Like, is it opening up even more like ideas of where this can go? Like goals that you want to set? Like you have achieved so much this year, and I think you did lose like I think in this last year, last 12 months it was what 20 pounds.
Yeah, 23 or something.
23 pounds, which is a lot. You have created definitely a new standard for your body, a new lifestyle, and you're maintaining that weight loss, right? So this is not something that is very common because people don't learn the craft and the yeah, I like to call it craft to maintain the new created body they have built. But does it also open up even more ideas of where this can go and what you can achieve? Does it make you hungry for more?
Yes, absolutely. I definitely envision myself just becoming stronger over time, doing this next fat loss phase and then being able to focus not on so much fat loss, but more on maintenance and then building. So I definitely just the best thing about it is it's not just this time stamped like 6 months that I am
Yeah.
focusing. It's like I can really see that I'm learning and I'm integrating this information so that the future is all mine. I don't have to feel like I'm going to lose what I've created here the minute well, I'm not planning on stepping away, but you know what I mean? When it's
Yeah.
obviously not going to be this intense all the time, but it has been such a great shift or literal transformation
Mm.
that I feel like I am not going to have to go back to the old myself, even though it's not going to be this intense all the time. It I've made such a huge transformation in my behavior, my habits, my thinking that I don't see myself going back to where I was before. It's not just the next thing that I'm doing and
Mm.
then until the next thing I'm doing. I really have found the lifestyle that will help me age health like in a healthy manner, and committed to being strong, and it just feels amazing. So I don't know if I've really thought past just that point of
Yeah.
it feels amazing to know that I'm moving in the right direction. And yes, I'm sure there will be moments when I'm like, oh, whoops, I stopped paying attention for a second, but then I know right
Mm.
away like what to do.
100%. I think that's the beauty of understanding and learning the craft, right? Of like body transformation, health and fitness for your own body is it's like learning a language. It's not something that yes, of course, at some point, if you're not practicing it enough, it's kind of getting like a little like bumpy. But as
Yeah,
soon as you are getting back into it, you're becoming again fluent. And so
yeah,
what you have done in the past year is like putting all the pieces together for your body and your health and fitness journey of understanding like how to take care of your nutrition, your recovery, your strength training. We haven't tapped in so much into the cardio piece yet, but we definitely are going to do that as well. I know that was a topic on the agenda that we wanted to get into after summer. But it's something
yeah,
that nobody can take away from you, right? So even if in 10 years, even if you're taking a break and you're just focusing on like maintenance and just lifting and eating good and taking care of yourself, but even after like 10 years, if you want to go through any of those different phases that are maybe muscle building or fat loss, you can do that because you understand the process. And I think
yeah,
that's a beautiful thing to own that process and not be so focused and bombarded on all the other stuff going on that is talking to you like you should do this, you should do that, buy my
yeah,
supplement, do my fad diet, right?
yeah. And I think, I have to say, I I strongly believe that the 1 year commitment is also key because it took me a minute to settle in. It was not perfect at the beginning. It was a little bit of, the momentum would be there and then it would fall off. And I think that was like, you really do kind of have to exhaust the old patterns, right? Because it's like, oh, this is where it usually falls apart. And then you have to work through that. And then there are some setbacks, there are some gains, and just getting to a point where, the train is moving in the right direction and not the stop and goes definitely took me a few months to, really settle in. And that's when I really started to see the biggest progress. So, being part of the way through that year and then looking forward of like, oh, if I can make this much progress to this point, like it's exponential what I can do through this like big commitment piece. And then what does that look like moving forward? But the 1 year like base has been really key for me because sometimes you're like, ooh, the program ends in a couple weeks or it ends in a month, or and
Mm.
you have this panic where you're like, I didn't do all the things. So having the extended period of, really being supported has been another thing that's really helped my transformation.
Would you also say it took off a bit pressure? Because I do have the feeling that when it comes to body transformation, of course, we want to see results, right? We are putting effort in and we want to see the outcome happening so that we know, like, I'm putting this in, I'm getting this out, and this keeps us like motivated, right? Would you say that
Yeah.
it took on the flip side also like pressure away from being very like, I need to see results now, because you knew like, okay, we are having this 1 year together. We have the transformation roadmap where, we have the time to get into things without making sometimes very like reactive decisions on, oh, I want to drop weight fast now because next week is my holiday coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it really, like, handing the thinking and handing the structure over to you is what, like, I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to be confused. I didn't have to wonder if it was going to work or, watch it not work. So I think that ability to just surrender to the process was, that was huge. And I think that might be intimidating for some people because they don't really want to be told what to do, is how it's kind of framed. But I think knowing what to do is most of the not the problem, but it's like it's what takes up all your energy, is just knowing what to do. So having that part of it not in my control has been amazing.
You actually are taking, like, I mean, you are in the end the one who did the work, right? That's it will always be the case. You are the one who's eating and sleeping and training, all the things. But it does take a lot decisions away from, is this now better for me or this? Should I try this or that? So it's this like ping ponging from switching maybe also strategies way too often, that never lets us get into a position where we can start seeing results happening. And I think you did an amazing job to kind of hand that off to me and be like, I'm trusting you. Let's get it. Give me the plan. Tell me like exactly what to do. And we did a beautiful, beautiful job. And I'm very, very grateful to have you as a client and be part of your journey and this transformation. It's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
If you would like, as a like last words for today, what would you tell your younger self who's maybe on the fence about joining the program, but maybe is a little bit like, ooh, will this work? Will this not work? What would you tell her?
I would say run, don't walk. Just don't, just go for it. I think, how many times have spent a little bit to get nowhere, and all those things add up where you're just searching and searching. So I mean, for me, I would definitely tell myself to run. Run, do not walk.
Let's get it and let's start better
let's
sooner
let's
than
get it.
later.
Yeah, and I think one thing also is that this program in general have helped me reframe some of my thinking, or a lot of my thinking, actually.
That's so great to hear, because I think only if you can reframe your thinking, you're able to become that future version of yourself that you aspire to be, right? It all starts
Yeah.
here. If we don't change
Yeah.
that, then we're always going back to the old ways of doing things, the old patterns, the old ways of making decisions, the old ways of talking to ourselves and how we are treating ourselves. And I think your journey is really like a testimony of that internal shift that already happened that is also happening. It's an ongoing process, of course, but that led you to having this amazing transformation within the last year. And I'm so excited to see the next like 6 months, what we are going to do, and hopefully be able to see your transformation in the next couple of years. Of course, it's going to be amazing, Angela. Thank you for taking the time today and being on today's interview. It was amazing talking to you, Queen.
Queen, yay. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.